Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brianna Akuamoah-Boateng, and I'm representing Team Water Buffaloes, and I'm a senior at Poolsville High School in Poolsville, Maryland. Now presenting with me in spirit is my teammate, Sophia, who is also a senior with me. So over the course of this presentation, I will be going over what we learned, what we'll do, and what we'll achieve. So starting off with what we learned, Project Green Challenge started as something that was just an assignment that we had to do every year for class, but none of us really followed through with it like students at maybe like Jericho High School would probably do over their years. But we decided to end our senior year by starting with a project like this. Over the course of it, our favorite challenges that really connected to us were food waste and soil, primarily because they are concepts that you automatically tie to environmentalism already. But with Project Green Challenge, we had the opportunity to see how they were reflected in our life and in our communities and giving us a tangible connection to these kind of topics that often seem so far away from us as students. So, but what we also really admired about Project Green Challenge is the fact that it connected to the intersectionality of environmentalism. Now, when you think of environmentalists, you'll think of slightly crazy people like us who are tree huggers, produce planters, and beach cleanuppers or whatever, who work on different aspects of basic environmentalism. But here we had to focus on topics like fashion, which I really enjoyed, and fair trade, policy, and justice, which are sectors of our workforce and field that automatically tie to environmentalism in ways that people don't automatically make connections to. So I saw this reflected in one of my biggest heroes who I've been learning about through my entire childhood really, and this is Wangari Maathai. She's a former Kenyan parliamentarian and founder of the Greenbelt movement. Now, what made her so significant is that she connected with the female farmers in her community who were actively expediting the rate of desertification because they were poorly planting in their communities by creating cash crops that really decimated their local environmental systems. So she started with something as simple as planting trees and giving people small financial incentives, really pennies on the dollar, that boosted communities and gave them simple ways to fend for themselves in ways that they didn't think of before. And in doing so, she created something that started as an environmental issue, but connected to a feminism, economics, and civil rights issues that really empowered me to see how I could do something simple within my community myself. So that will go on to what we'll do. So this really is really school specific to me because my school has these 4 programs. Our magnet programs are the humanities programs, the environmental studies program that I'm in. Our team mascot is actually the water buffaloes, that's where the name comes from. And the SMAC students that are math, computer science, engineering, and the local students who are called ISP. So in our school, we have our greenhouse, which used to be one of the biggest programs at our school before COVID kind of killed everything. And as well as the fact that our school is currently under construction still. So we haven't been tending to this very vital resource in our community. So what we want to do is bring it back to life, but not only at a club level, also incorporating it within our school curriculum to be something that engages students from all of these different niches to create something that we can see reflected across the scope of these platforms. So here is where our timeline begins. Right now, we are trying to learn from in our community. Something else that's special about my school is that it's located within the only town in our agricultural reserve, which is 93,000 acres of land reserved for farming. So we want to connect with the farming experts in our community to actually use the community leaders to create change within the community themselves, because who better is there to learn from than the leaders who want to see themselves represented, as well as our local community council members, because our county is actually in the middle of their own climate action plan that passed in 2019-2020, where they are subsidizing funds as part of their education programs to support school gardens and greenhouses. So that means the resources are there, but we want to be able to actually tap into it ourselves. The next step would be to gather. So our heads of house, our program coordinators, we want to use what they have to offer us to incorporate this within our school curriculums. So obviously, one example would be our engineering students already have to take a class called Environmental Systems, where they design and create models like vertical farming and hydroponic systems that are reflected within our principal partners like Kaleva, which is a farm, where we can replicate those models in our school, because what other way is there to learn the best than to take something apart and create it within your community yourself. Then our next step would be to design, start implementing this within our greenhouse and trying to usher in the space how we see fit. And lastly, we would start providing. So this would be a space for community engagement, for students to learn from the people in their community, as well as creating for themselves, and also just a place for all the houses to come together, because naturally, with the separation that we have, it's kind of a major system where people aren't really connecting across their houses, so this will be a place for them to do that. So now what do we hope to achieve from all of this? So as you can see from this quote, the love of gardening is a seed once sown that never dies. Project Green Challenge is 30 days because, as I already stated, we want to instill habits within our community. So imagine what these students will learn when over the course of 4 years, as they continue to learn new concepts and designs, they see how they are connected back into the environment through their classes and curriculums, because they have to continue to engage with the greenhouse at the center of our campus. And beyond that, we recognize that we are seniors, and while this project ends in April, I will leave in May, and we want to make sure that it outlives us. And the key word in sustainability is to sustain. And without that principle at the core of our project, the greenhouse will die again without us. That's why it is important to invest in it in a way that connects it beyond just a club or something outside, and not seeing the environment as something beyond us, but something within everything that we have in our communities, so that we can pass it forward to the people who will come after us. So yeah, that is my presentation. Thank you.